So, Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 1 coming to a close and finally wrapped up, I thought I'd make a top 5 list talking about my top 5 favourite episodes of Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 1. Now, these 5 episodes I'm listing are not in any particular order. Probably the first 2, depending on how I talk about them, are the ones that stand out the most and the most impression they made on me when watching these episodes. But I'm guessing like the first first 4 or 3 episodes on this list are in no particular order. I mean, you can rank them wherever, but the top 3 or the top 2 episodes I'll have on this ranking, those are the episodes that stood out to me the most. And this isn't going to be scripted, I'm just going to ramble on what I remember about the episodes and how it stood out to me. Now, if you want to hear my initial thoughts on these episodes, you can go back and see a playlist of my Beast Morpher reviews that I did of the episodes when they came out, watching them in Australia initially, so be sure to check out that playlist. It's a fun little playlist if you want to check it out. Anyways, on to the top 5 episodes of Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 1, and these are my top 5 episodes of Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 1. If you've got your own top 5 list, or top 10 list, or top 11 list, tell me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, I'd love to hear your opinions. But anyways, on with the list. Also, I won't be using many pictures to talk about the episodes I'm talking about, because Evox and Hasbro have teamed together on YouTube to copyright claim anyone who uses still images of Power Rangers Beast Morphers if you have it on the screen for more than 5 seconds, so there won't be many images in this video, unfortunately. Alright, number 5 on this list is episode 3 of Power Rangers Beast Morphers, End of the Road. Now, End of the Road is a very weird choice for this list, especially at number 5, but it is a very short list. So the reason why I thought about putting End of the Road up here is mostly because it's the first filler episode we got of Power Rangers Beast Morphers, but it's also the first Zoe-focused episode we got of Power Rangers Beast Morphers, and I really did enjoy this episode where we got to focus on Zoe and we got to see how determined she can be when she sticks to a goal, and how determined she was to get the X-Bikes on the road and stuff like that. It was a fun episode. Also, you did have that wholesome moment where Nate and Zoe were talking in the forest, and it sort of sparked that relationship we would see between the characters in the near future in later episodes to come. But that episode when Nate is talking about his family, how he doesn't really have anyone, and he thinks of the Rangers as his family because his family's always working and stuff like that, was a really nice moment and a really good character development moment for Nate as well, where that scene when Nate is just opening up to Zoe and just talking about his life, that gave Nate a lot of character development to learn about what Nate is like and what's his personal life like, and it's cool to see characters like that open up and you learn more about them, because it wasn't just a simple talk about friendship. It's like, you guys are my family and I care about you, so I'm glad I'm with the Rangers and stuff like that. I wish I could have a brother, which sort of alluded to the whole Steel stuff we got later down the line, but that scene in the forest where they're talking was like a nice wholesome scene and I did enjoy it. Also, the BMX chase you get through the city with like the Rangers chasing Blaze on the bike was also really cool. It's like BMX bandits on steroids but with Power Rangers. That was really cool, and rewatching that episode on Netflix, just rewatching it, was like, whoa, they got the stunt team chasing after Kobe on a bike, who, the Rangers are in stunt helmets, like the stunt actors are in helmets, and they're doing all these flips and tricks and stuff on a bike. I know that was really stunt stuff done off screen, but just to ride on a bike in that leather outfit and having a visor helmet on you where you can probably barely see, riding a bike in unison, trying to chase after someone is really crazy, just how they did that stunt. It was really well done and I quite enjoyed it because that was the clip they showed off for the preview, I remember, all those months ago, but that was a really cool scene as well, seeing just them chase after Blaze as well. Also, we also got to see the Wheeler Zord in that episode in Gorilla Mode, which was also really cool. But yeah, like, End of the Road, despite what you think of it, I did enjoy it, and rewatching it on Netflix, I did enjoy it as well, so End of the Road. Alright, number 4 is a tiebreaker between episode 1 and episode 2 of Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Why? Because I couldn't really decide, because number 2, or episode 2 of Beast Morphers, I really did enjoy because it introduced my boy Scruzzle. We got to see Evox and what he's like. We got to see Blaze and Roxy do their villain stuff. It's like episode 2 made a really strong impression because we got to see the weaknesses and the powers of the Rangers in battle against the Tronics and stuff like that, and how Devon rose up to the occasion and became the leader, and we got to see how all the other Rangers interacted with each other, like I said earlier, plus the weaknesses of their power, like Ravi going berserk in gorilla mode, which I kind of wish they did more with, Zoe getting tired from jumping around and stuff like that, and Devon's fear of cats, or not cats, dogs, because he's got cheetah DNA. It was all really interesting, just setting up their powers and stuff throughout the episode. And then you've got the pilot episode, Beast Unleashed, episode 1, because this was the first episode of the Hasbro era, the first episode where we were worried how Hasbro would handle Power Rangers and what would be different. And like episode 1 of Power Ranger Beast Morphers made a really strong impression on everyone. Everyone seemed to like it with how they handled it. I mean, there was no Sentai footage at all. It was all original footage. We got to see stuff like Mayor Daniels and the Morph X and just what it was setting up for later down the line. All that foreshadowing he did throughout the episode. Like, episode 1 introduced so much, like the character relation. Ravi and his secret love for Roxy, because Ravi wanting to free Roxy from the cyber dimension and destroy her avatar became his goal throughout the season. Him wanting to free his girlfriend that he still had feelings for, even though he couldn't really show it. Stuff like that. You got to see Devon and his relationship with Mayor Daniels. We got introduced to so many cool characters in this first episode, like Ben and Betty. They made a really funny impact, even though people had mixed feelings about them later down the line. I love the introduction when we first see Ben and Betty, where you see Betty just standing off the stool, and you got to see how small she was. I love that gag when we first saw it, and I still like it. I still got a laugh out of that gag when we first saw it. Like, episode 1 and 2 is sort of like a mini two-parter, if you think about it, but episode 1 did set the bar for how cool the Hasbro era was going to be, and episode 2 just followed up with how crazy the action and the world building was for Power Ranger Beast Morphers, if you know what I mean. Like, I enjoyed these both episodes, and I couldn't really decide where I wanted them on the list, because my top 3 Power Ranger Beast Morpher episodes are going to be very different, and maybe a bit conflicting where I put these episodes, but I just decided to have these episodes tiebreak at number 4, making this sort of like a top 6 episode Power Ranger Beast Morpher list. But these episodes are really great, and I couldn't leave one out without the other, and if I left episode 1 out, it'd be a crime against nature, so I just had to put both of these episodes in there. Number 3 on this list is the Silver Sacrifice. Now, the Silver Sacrifice is one crazy fun episode, and also an emotional roller coaster, because it's the episode after the hiatus in America. If you're in Australia and probably other places, it aired like the week after or the day after, but episode 9 was really freaking crazy, because we got to focus more on Steel, and the more we spent time with Steel, he became more of my favorite character. But this is where Steel, like this episode was so character deep for like Nate and Steel, where like Steel hands himself over to the bad guys to save Ben and Betty, because he learns about family and stuff like that. And Abraham's performance when Steel hands himself over to the bad guys is also really emotional. He looks like Abraham is like bawling his eyes out, about to cry, which is also kind of sad and emotional as well. But it's a fun episode where you got to see Steel just being goofy and fun, like when he thinks that Roxy is complimenting him, which is also really funny. But this episode was so crazy and weird. Like, you learn that Evox can't possess Steel because he's got human DNA. And then the Zord, was there a Zord fight in this episode? I can't remember. But this episode was just really emotional and crazy, and I enjoyed it quite a lot, because I don't know, just this episode, it was just a fun episode, and I really did enjoy it. If you remember it, just how crazy and fun it was, like, just Scrozzle and everyone else in this episode. Like, I've probably gone off, like, if you saw my review of episode 9 and how I felt about it, that's probably going to repeat a lot of what I'm probably going to say in this top 5 review list or whatever it is. But though my feelings on that episode haven't changed with how much I enjoyed it, that's for sure. Alright, episode 2 on this list is Target Tower, episode 19 of Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Like I said with my previous list, the Silver Sacrifice, go back and listen to my review of this episode, because my feelings still remain the same on this episode of how crazy this penultimate episode was leading up to the season finale, because so much shit went down in this, penultimate episode, before the season finale, I mean, we had Ravi vs. Roxy destroying the Avatar, Devon getting captured at the end of that emotional sprint that Mad Daniels tries to do. It's just one crazy episode with everything going down, and this is one crazy two-parter. If you watch it back to back, like, it's even more satisfying when you watch this episode and Evox's Revenge back to back, because it's one crazy freaking episode that I enjoyed quite a fair bit. So, Target Tower, like I said, go back and listen to my review that I did a few months ago, because my thoughts are still the same on the episode. It's still a fun episode that I really did enjoy with how much went down with this episode. And last on the list, my number one is Sound and Fury, because Sound and Fury, everyone and their mother talked about this episode of how good it was. Just the action, the side plot with Nate and Zoe and that Megan chick. It was one crazy episode, especially the tuba monster fight at the start of the episode where Devon gets his ass handed to him and his visor cracks. He puts his teammates before himself and makes sure they get out there safely while fighting the tuba monster. That was a really cool Devon moment. I mean, like, if you go back and watch my review, like I've said with these past few episodes on the list, like, I still feel the same about him, like I've mentioned several times, but this episode was really crazy. And then when you see Red Fury mode with that power up and how he just wipes the floor with the tuba monster is really freaking crazy. Like, this episode was bloody amazing when it aired all those months ago in Australia and probably a few months ago in America. I don't know, I don't keep up with when it airs in the United States after I watched it in Australia, but this was one crazy freaking episode with everything that went down, and I quite enjoyed it. And when it's on Netflix, I'm definitely going to go back and watch it again to see how it holds up, and I'm probably still going to enjoy it with how crazy and epic and badass this episode is. But this episode gives, like, the side characters, not the side characters, like Nate and Zoe, a lot of development where they secretly start dating. You see Red Fury mode and how that plays an impact into the next episode coming up. Like, so much in this episode builds up towards each other, and even the Red Fury cells that we see in these episodes build up towards the Vargo stuff that we see later down the line. Like, everything in Beast Morphers had a payoff in some shape or form later down the line. I'm sure we probably had a few MacGuffins here and there, but just everything that, like, the Red Fury stuff did with Vargo, and like I said, it all led up to something. And the Red Fury mode episode, Sound and Fury, was one kick-ass episode, and I really did enjoy it quite a fair bit. But anyway, guys, that is my top 5 episodes of Season 1 of Power Rangers Beast Morphers. The list is probably going to change later down the line, who knows. But if you want to see me talk about these episodes into full detail, like I said at the start of the video, go and check out my Beast Morphers playlist where I talked about all those episodes I mentioned. You can see me talk about them in full detail. I've got a playlist of every single Power Ranger Beast Morphers being reviewed so far, except for the Christmas episode. That's going to be up on Saturday after I record this video, so after you watch this video, go check out my Scrozzle's Revenge review if it's up by now. If it's not, it will be up by Saturday. But anyway, guys, that is my top 5 episodes of Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 1. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this top 5 list, remember to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new,